The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered! You covered 12! Covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Thursday morning, afternoon episode of the Bostonian versus the book. My name is Matt Perrault. Thank you for being here. We're live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the book. Same on Twitter and X at Boston versus the book. Reminder on the schedule as to how today is going to wind up going, or how just in general how we're going to go today and tomorrow. We are here. We're live. We are off next week. And then we are back on the 7th of July. Live on our YouTube channel and replayed on Sports Grid Television, Sirius XM. We will be, or I will be, in New Hampshire for the month of July. So just, you won't see the backdrop, but we'll be on for an hour plus like we do every day now. And thank you for being here. Thank you for all the kind messages, the DMs you guys have been sending, for being a part of the brigade. I really do appreciate it. It's cool to see you guys interact. It's cool to see you guys writing messages, writing different things on the YouTube video and on our Twitter account and everything else that's been going on. So we got a lot of things to get into here today on the program. There's no guest for today because I want to really roll through a bunch of different topics. We'll get to the opening line on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the UFC and their new promotion that launched yesterday here in Vegas, the UFC BJJ. We'll talk about the ESPN draft coverage last night, which I thought was an absolute complete mess. Barry Bonds is getting a statue. Really? That's happening in San Francisco. We got 3 bets for you with just the picks. Ohtani is supposed to pitch this weekend, but Dave Roberts, it's Thursday, and Dave Roberts is being very coy right now as to what's going on. And I don't really understand why he's being so coy with Ohtani. And then California made some really big news yesterday for news of the industry by announcing that they are potentially going to ban daily fantasy, which that's the second biggest state. Really, I mean, you're talking about 39 million people. It's the biggest state population wise to do that. I mean, Texas technically is illegal, but not really. They don't enforce it. California is going to, I guess, enforce it. So we'll get to that story coming up a little bit later on the program. There's a bunch of good things to jump around with today. I also have a poll question that I want to put up and ask you guys here a little bit about something I asked on Twitter. So we'll do all of that. But first and foremost, it is the opening line. All right, the opening line, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu made a big splash last night here in Las Vegas. Now, for a lot of you, you may not know what BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is. So let's do a quick little refresh here. This has been around for a very long time. This has been the catalyst for mixed martial arts in a lot of ways. There's boxing, there's Muay Thai, there's grappling and wrestling, and there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The purpose of BJJ, and I don't say this to be inflammatory, I don't say this to be insulting or rude, but the purpose of BJJ is to kill you. Like, it is a self-defense mechanism in which when you employ it, the idea is to take out the person that you are using it against. Now, we've turned it into a sport, so we've created the tap, okay? But if I choke you to the point where you cannot receive blood to your brain, you die. That's what this has been. This is why it became a hand-to-hand combat sport. It's tough for a lot of people. It's tough for families. I know families that have put their sons into BJJ and they have been turned off by that because their son, their daughter can get choked out and you can lose consciousness. It happens a lot. It's just part of the sport where you get blood and oxygen cut off to your brain and you lose consciousness. Sometimes people won't tap. Sometimes we see some pretty gnarly injuries that happen with BJJ. And it happened last night. I mean, a guy did not want to tap. He fought and fought and fought and fought. And that's an elbow snapping, boys and girls. That's what that is. Guy dislocated his elbow because of this submission move. And the guy did not tap. And once he finally tapped, he got up and his arm was literally going the wrong way. As one person on Twitter put it, wouldn't surprise me if at all if UFC BJJ ends up averaging more injuries than regular UFC. That's true. In particular, because the guys that do this are a little nuts. Now, you got to be a little nuts to get into an octagon, into a boxing ring, into a MMA fight. You got to have something, you're trying to prove something or you're trying to accomplish something. You're wired a bit differently if you're into this stuff. And it's why I think for a lot of people, boxing is simple. I'm going to punch you, I'm going to hit you, and you're going to pass out, and I win. I'm going to remove you from consciousness. I win. The next level up, kind of the master's level, is mixed martial arts with the UFC. So we go into submissions. We go into grappling. We go into wrestling. We go into striking with our limbs, our elbows, and our knees, and our feet. That's different. Kickboxing, Muay Thai. These are violent sports that are even more violent than boxing. And boxing's pretty violent. We've seen just recently fighters be knocked out that have openly said that for 6 weeks after being knocked out, they did not remember anything. Like serious head trauma happens from boxing. It happens from MMA when they use 4-ounce gloves. But jiu-jitsu is different because of the way that we position the body. And when you watch this, if you watched this last night, this was exciting. This is when you know what's going on. This is an incredible sport. The problem is the vast majority of people do not know what's going on. And it's going to be a tough sledding, I think, for the UFC to really get this to become mainstream. Slapping someone across the face is one thing, okay? There's no defense. It's just big guy on big guy. I'm going to slap you. And if you stand up, you get, congratulations, you survived. If you fall down, you got knocked out. So power slap is very basic and very easy for people to understand, but there's no defense. The problem with power slap, the reason why power slap, I don't think will take off to the level that Dana White thought he once called it would be bigger than the UFC. Why that's not going to happen is because there's no defense. It's all offense. So people like defense. People like watching a fighter protect themselves and then come back. They're getting beaten up. The Rocky montage, right? Rocky's getting beat up by Drago, and all of a sudden he gets up and he fights. People like to see that stuff when it comes to combat sports. There's none of that in power slap. There is that in BJJ, but it's not the way we all think because you have to understand what's happening on the mat. I didn't get it for years until I moved to Vegas and I started to train in boxing. Venom, which is now the official apparel company of the UFC, Venom opened up their headquarters here in Las Vegas. And so I started training at Venom training camp because my then boxing coach, Stephan Bonner, who, yes, that's Stephan Bonner, who has since left us, was there. He was hired as a coach by Venom. And I was being coached by Stephan Bonner. So I wind up going with him to Venom. There, I meet world-class BJJ experts. And I watched them on the mat, and I could not believe what my eyes were seeing. In person, a tactical, athletic, high-level BJJ fight is as entertaining as any boxing match I've ever seen. Because these guys are stupid when it comes to their moves. They jump over each other. They roll constantly. They're trying different angles. They're getting you pinned. They're choking you out in crazy ways. They're bending your foot. They're bending your elbow. They're bending your shoulder. Like there's all these different pressure points that people who have BJJ experience understand. And I've said this before in Vegas, when you're in this town, you better know damn sure who you're fighting. If you're going to get into a bar fight, a street fight, or with somebody just you don't know. Because in this town, there's a damn good chance that they know BJJ. And if they know BJJ, I don't care how small they are. This is the ultimate equalizer. It's why I want my daughter. I recommend it to all girls who are 5 to 15. Learn it. It's an unbelievable self-defense mechanism. It doesn't matter how big the assailant is. If you know what you are doing, you can take out anybody, literally anybody, if you know what you're doing in BJJ. That's why it was designed as a self-defense, hand-to-hand combat sport, but not really a sport. We turned it into a sport. Self-defense action. Last night, we saw the debut of Bella Mir, who is the daughter of Frank Mir, former UFC champ, and the first ever UFC NIL athlete at the University of Iowa. Now, she has since transferred to a different school, but she's focused on grappling. She's focused on what's going to happen in the BJJ world. She was insane, and there's a wild connection to Dave Sharapan and Bella Mir. Dave coached her in softball. Bella, we've been talking about Bella for a while as to like, what was she going to do? The UFC launched this, and they have a star in Bella Mir. They have the first star already in Bella Mir. And if they're intelligent, and we know that they are, they're going to build this all around Bella Mir. At least they should. Because as of right now, the guy that they're marketing is a guy named Musamichi. Mikey Musamichi. Mikey Musamichi won the first belt ever for UFC BJJ last night. As this person on Twitter X wrote, no one's going to watch this BJJ thing. And trying to sell it with Musamichi is crazy. Insane grappler, but has less charisma than Kamaru Usman. And if we know that Kamaru Usman has not exactly been the pay-per-view darling that everyone, for starters, he grapples a lot. Okay. Usman is a grappler. We just saw him go 5 rounds recently in a UFC main event. Looked great doing it, but he's not the most exciting fighters. The problem for Mikey is Mikey looks like that. That's what Mikey looks like. Mikey Musamichi is like a librarian. We talked before about golfers looking like everyday guys. A lot of the BJJ guys just look like normal dudes. They look like your neighbor. They look like someone you play golf with. Like, it's not anybody that, like, you don't look at them and be like, oh my gosh, that guy's enormous. Like, there's no Brock Lesnar of the BJJ world. Like, there's just not. So if I'm the UFC, we can't really look at Mikey Musamichi, who is going to be a coach for this new reality show they've got going on. They're doing the Ultimate Fighter, but the BJJ version of it, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu version of it. And Mikey Musamichi is going to be like the face of it. He's like the guy that they're going to push out there as being one of the coaches and one of the main guys to watch. He's just not going to move the needle. Like, it's not going to happen. On Twitter yesterday, when it was going on, when the fight was going on, people were going, whoa, that's Bella Mir. Hold on a second. She's only 3-0. All right. So in her MMA world, she's 3-0. And she now is at North Central University in Minnesota. She has a potential. If you want to make this sport something, if you want to make it big, you want to make people want to watch it. I mean, she probably should have tapped the girl out in the first round. She tapped her in the second round last night, but she just rolled through her. I mean, she grabbed hold of a Darce choke and didn't let go, and that was all she wrote. Like, she just grabbed a hold of it, and it was incredible to watch. There is also controversy around this entity. I can't even show you the full picture of what Craig Jones, who was a guy here in Vegas, of what he did, but he created a blow-up doll that was naked, and he put a picture of Dana White on it. I can't show you the whole picture, but that's a naked blow-up doll. He then put together a whole video in which he fired a rocket launcher at this said blow-up doll with Dana White's face on it, claiming that Dana White stole his concept of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professional sports league. Now, The league that Craig Jones owns here in Vegas will have an event coming up in August with some pretty big time wrestlers, some pretty big time names. So this has some other things going on. Like this has some other twists and turns. As he says, bleep the UFC. Craig Jones blows up a Dana White mannequin after claiming the UFC stole his concept. It's hard to argue that the UFC didn't steal his concept because he shows in that video, like he shows what his performance, his quote octagon, whatever you want to call the thing, looks like a bowl, what it looks like. But that's kind of just like a generalized, from what I've talked with people, is like, that's just, there's no set thing as to what a BJJ normally is just mats. So like, there's no proprietary anything when it comes to this. No one put trademarks down as to what the surface is supposed to look like. You cannot say, well, we're the only BJJ professional sports league. That's dumb. That's like saying we're the only baseball league, like Major League Baseball owns baseball. No, they don't, right? There's leagues all over the world. Just like basketball, we have the NBA, but we have others. The NFL owns football. No, they don't. There's the CFL and other leagues, right? So the idea that like Dana White and the UFC stole a BJJ concept is a little bit like, spare me, okay? That's a little ridiculous. Are there certain techniques, scoring systems, certain things that he feels like Dana White may have copied? Sure. But this is what happens in business all the time. If you don't have a proprietary right, like how many times you ever watch Shark Tank? How many times you heard like Mark Cuban be like, hey, anybody can knock you off. Like this concept's great, but what's going to stop a big box store from just doing their own version of it? And they'll kill your business because they have access to capital that you don't. The UFC has massive amounts of, opportunities. One, they have Fight Pass, which is what that was on last night. They have an app that people watch and combat sports fans watch for all sorts of different combat events. Two, they have deals with ESPN. Like they've got big marketing wings. Three, they have an email list of every media member basically in the country that is covering even a little bit UFC, MMA, power slap, whatever. And they have done a great job of pushing that out and saying, hey, this is going on here at the Apex. If you want to cover it, come on over and cover it. And Bella is the face of it if they do it right. For starters, there isn't really, I know there are a couple of decent, and Amanda Nunes coming back to the UFC is a big deal. So you have a superstar now at the top of the card, if you will, the top of the pecking order, but they need stars. The UFC is really struggling for stars. I don't know where Bella is with her striking, but she's young. Okay. She's early 20s. So where is she with the striking? I don't know. Maybe that's why they're going this route, because she mauled that girl last night and she will pretty much maul anybody. She has the attitude of Frank, the strength of Frank, and she wants it. You can tell when she gets in there, she does not hesitate. And she's stupid strong. Like you can look at her like she's stupid strong. It's going to be very fun to watch this as to what happens. Does the UFC have something in Bellamere? Do they keep her at the BJJ level, or do they move her up to the UFC essentially and adding in everything? But it's a great place from a training ground perspective. The best champions are the ones that are the most tactical on the mat. It's great when you can punch. Sean O'Malley is awesome. What happened when he ran into a guy who could grapple, a guy who could wrestle, a guy who was a tactician with BJJ? What happened to Conor McGregor when he ran into a tactician, when he ran into Habib, when he ran into somebody who can maul you on the ground? If you can maul somebody on the ground, I don't care what your stand-up is, unless you are a heavyweight and you have incredible power in your hands, and that does happen, okay? Guys who have just natural rocks for hands that can knock you out and you never get close to them, sure, that can happen. But far too often, from Georges St. Pierre all the way back, if you are somebody who can grab a hold of someone's legs, put them on their butt, get on top of them, mount them, and beat them to submission, you're going to do very well in the UFC. So I wouldn't expect Bellamere just to stay down at the BJJ side of things, but having her be down there and have her on that level as that promotion starts to gain some traction. Nobody was there last night. Like, go watch. If you watch the videos, There was nobody there. It was friends and family only. Nobody knew about it. I asked 2 bookmakers today on Twitter if they had odds up. Westgate did not. Circa did not. Nobody booked it. So you need to add that component, right? You need the gambling side, in particular here in Vegas, because most of the events are going to happen here at the Apex. You got to have the gambling side of it. But there is something there that there is 100%, not just with Bella, but with the sport of BJJ. It is violent when you understand what is happening. It's controlled violence, but it's, again, if you don't tap, things break or you go to sleep, one or the other. And that ending is, it's scary. And to see it in person, I've seen guys be choked out, and it's wild. It's wild to watch. It's wild to see them come back to. You grab the legs, you lift the legs up, make sure the blood flows back to the brain, and like it's a reboot, literally. Like these guys just like wake up. You're like, oh, okay, I'm here. What happened? It is a crazy sport. It's dangerous on top of that. The injuries are real and they are significant. Getting knocked out, getting a concussion, head injuries are no joke, okay? But you snap someone's knee, you snap their ankle, you snap their elbow. Whoa, that is real world stuff. That is a real world stuff when it comes to that. So we'll see how it goes. But I was very impressed. I'm very encouraged about what Dana White, way more than power slap. Get rid of power slap, Dana. Give me more on the BJJ side, more on what happened last night at the Apex. With Bella Mir, got to work on the guys a little bit. But from a women's perspective, Bella is somebody to watch and absolutely a name to pay attention to. Let's talk about what happened last night. What happened last night? What was that? What was ESPN's coverage of the NBA draft? From wrong names to Stephen A. Smith yelling to awkward exchanges in weird, odd moments. The entire thing was bizarre. I don't understand what happened. I don't understand how you make a mistake as blatant as this. How does that happen? How do you identify that person, Ace Bailey, as Cooper Flagg? That cannot happen. Cooper Flagg has been the number 1 pick for a year plus, and you don't put the right cry on. That's the words underneath him. You don't do that. I don't know who did that, but they're probably unemployed today. That can't happen. Like, that cannot happen on ESPN, on draft coverage, where you misidentify the number 1 pick in the draft. Like, that was bad enough. Okay. That was horrible. It got worse. If it could get worse from there, it got worse. Cedric Coward paid $25,000 to play at a D3 school. He paid his own way to play for a D3 school. And he went 11th in the NBA draft, only to be called Colin Cowherd. They called him Colin Cowherd. Like, what are we doing? How is this possible? How do you call the kid Colin Cowherd? Because the story of this kid is unbelievable. He played for a small college, D3 college in Oregon, and this kid winds up going 11th in the draft. The biggest moment of the kid's life, the biggest thing that could ever happen to you. You get drafted in the lottery, and you were playing D3 basketball, and you're called by the wrong name? Like, come on, man. What are we doing? How do we make that mistake? It got worse. They drafted somebody who was in the crowd. Like, this was like The Price is Right. Come on down. Did you see this? Adam Silver, 7'1", Yang Hansen, was taken 16th overall in the draft. He was in the crowd. He wasn't in the green room. Did he pay for a ticket? Like, how does this happen? He didn't know he was going to get picked. The NBA didn't know he was going to get picked. You put him in the crowd? They're calling him the Chinese version of Nikola Jokic. He was in the crowd. he came out of the crowd like some weird, like, high school thing. Like you just, I got picked. Like, what do you went in the lottery, dude? Like, how in the heck did that happen? So we go from that. I mean, the wrong word, a 7'2" center from China comes and gets out at the end of the night. And I'm not sure you guys were even watching this, okay? But the end of the night, and this wasn't ESPN's fault per se, because everyone was crying. Like, that was the most emotional draft I've ever seen. I don't know if it's a societal thing or just these kids or what, but like everyone was trying to one up the other when it came to bawling their eyes out. And then the Wolf family got called. And when they got called, I don't know what got into the family. They absolutely lost it. All of them. The mom was like completely almost catatonic with how much she was crying. The dad was like, what is going on? How is this possible? Danny, the kid that got drafted, he got picked by the Brooklyn Nets. One of the only non-guard they drafted, by the way, was Danny Wolf at the end of the first round. He's crying. I get why he's crying. I get why the mom's crying. Can somebody explain this to me? What was going on with his brother? Like, what was this? Like, this is the meme of memes that have come out of this. What happened to this kid? Like, I get it. Your younger brother got drafted. You're so proud of him. It's amazing. He was doing this for like 5 minutes. This wasn't like a shock one-time thing. This kid was crying for a good 5 to 10 minutes with that look on his face, just absolutely losing it. And it's sweet in some level, right? But you're on national TV. Get it together, bro. Like, hold on a second. Someone needs to tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, man, like, go take a moment. Like, get away from the cameras for a second. Go and compose yourself. Go and figure out, like, how to calm down for a second, because you're way, way over. I mean, like, you are completely overdoing it. And it almost looked fake that you were crying like this. And you're standing up. He's not a short guy. The whole family is like 6 foot tall and taller. The mom's tall, the dad's tall, all the Wolf family. They're all tall, right? So he's standing up, watching his brother be interviewed by all these people, and he's just bawling. And he knows the camera's on him. There's no way he doesn't know that he's on TV. He's on national TV, and he's making a ridiculous face. Like, just like a ridiculous, like, your brother got drafted, man. He's still with us. Like, no one's taking him away from you. You're acting like the kid got kidnapped. Like, no one's taking him away. Like, he's just going to Brooklyn. Like, you can fly and see your brother. It's okay. We don't need to lose our minds. I don't understand. I just don't understand what that entire thing was last night. What an epic fail. And on top of it, why is this a 2-night thing? Why are we doing this again tonight? Can someone explain that to me, please? Why are we doing the NBA draft over 2 nights? Do they think we care about second-round picks? They're not guaranteed contracts. They're not guaranteed roster spots. Like, second-round picks don't matter. We're dedicating an entire night? You want people to come back to be why? Like, why? What's the point? All the guys in the green room got picked. Liam McNeely got picked, so he's good. So everyone got picked. Danny Wolf. There's nobody left in the green room. They all got picked. Why are we doing this again tonight? What's the point of that? Yep, I would agree. Complete clown show. I don't understand. I completely and totally do not understand what's going on. Tyrone says the Chinese center paid for a ticket. Are you kidding me? Is that real? I did not know that. Come on. They didn't make him pay for a ticket. There's no way. There's no way that kid paid for a ticket. I hope that's wrong. If that's right, my goodness gracious. Does Tony Kornheiser get drafted tonight? Oh, I don't know. The whole thing from Malika Andrews calling him Colin Cowherd to ESPN misidentifying what happened with the cryon for Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey, to Ace Bailey's reaction to being drafted by Utah. Did you see his reaction? He didn't work out for Utah. They asked him to work out. He said no. And Danny Ainge's kid said, I don't care. I'm drafting him to go to Utah. That's how badly people, it's like, oh my gosh, really? It's kind of like Rafael Devers being sent to San Francisco. Like, no one wants to play in San Francisco, so you got to get him any way you can. Like, nobody wants to play in Utah, so you got to get it any way you can. Kid can't say no. Hey, we draft you. We have the rights to you, so we're drafting you whether you want to be here or not, Ace. Sorry, we're taking you at 5. Like, he tried really hard to pull a John Elway. Be like, I don't want to play there. Like, no, don't draft me. Utah's like, yeah, we don't care. we're taking Ace Bailey. His reaction was like, oh. And then the kid from Baylor, whose name I'm forgetting, who's everyone's talking about his girlfriend today, but he got drafted by Toronto, and he was furious. At 9, he got picked. His reaction was like, dude, I got drafted by the Canadian team. How did I get drafted by the Canadian team? Like, he was so pissed off. That was the craziest night of television that had nothing to do with basketball. I didn't care. Watching that was a slow-moving train wreck that had nothing to do with basketball. I don't know where any of these players are going to fit. I have no idea what the Brooklyn Nets are doing. They made history. They had 5 picks. They kept them all. We talked to Keith Smith on the show yesterday. What did he say? There were 2 things he was sure of. The one was that Cooper Flagg was going number 1. That happened. And that the Brooklyn Nets were not keeping all 5 of their picks. Sorry, that happened. They kept all 5. And they drafted 4 guards on top of that. First time in the history of the NBA draft, one team took 4 guards. 4 out of the 5. Danny Wolf in the Crying Family was the only non-guard they drafted all night. 4 guards. Are you playing all 5 freshmen? Like, he had talked about that. That was a joke that we heard Keith make yesterday while playing all 5. The NBA version of the Fab 5. I don't know. Maybe they are, but I have no idea what Brooklyn's doing. I have no idea what any team. I mean, this is the NBA draft. There's like 3 players in every draft that actually like make noise in the league. Like, it just doesn't happen like far too often. They're end of the bench guys, even first round picks. They're end of the bench guys. They're developmental players. Like, Cooper Flagg's going to be an instant impact in Dallas. No debating that, right? Maybe Dylan Harper comes in and does a lot. Maybe he's going to be great, but we don't know. We don't know what any of these kids really will turn out to be because there's plenty of stories. I mean, Draymond Green was a 2nd round pick. I mean, there's plenty of players. Kyle Korver, for goodness sakes, came out of Creighton, was a 2nd round pick, played for, I think, 15 years in the league. You know, Doug McDermott came out of Creighton, has played in the league now. Doug is like 33, 34. He's been in the league for over 10 years, 12 years now, basically. Like, we have no idea what these kids are going to turn out to. They could be great role players. They might be superstars, or they might be out of the league and never getting another contract, or being a 2-way player for the rest of their career, going up and down from places like Portland, Maine, and playing for the Maine Red Claws. Like, who knows? The draft is in the NBA. It goes NFL draft, NBA draft, Major League Baseball draft, NHL draft in terms of impact. Because it's the age in which we draft these kids. Like 18, 19, 20. Basketball, you can have an impact at 18, 19, and 20. Football, you're not allowed to be drafted at that age. So you're 21, 22 when you're getting drafted into the NFL for football because your body's more developed. But baseball, you're 17, 18 years old. Hockey, you're 17, 18 years old. Got a long time to go in the minors to get and become something. Baseball is going faster. I mean, as we saw last night, Brewers rookie Jacob Mizorowski, real deal. Burns for the Reds, real deal. 3-0 win over Skeens. He's given up 3 hits in 3 starts. Okay, that's a young kid who's come up, who now is the leader for the National League Rookie of the Year. -120. He's got 3 starts under his belt. Chase Burns has 1. He has 1 start under his, and he's still plus 850. I was talking to somebody last night. They think that Chase Burns at 850 is an unbelievable value, that should be the bet because Chase Burns is the real deal. He is the kid from Tennessee, and that Mizorowski is going to be great, but Burns has the strikeouts, and Burns is going to be the better of the 2. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but the value, if the 2 guys are similar and close, let's see. Now, they're both going to be on teams, in the middle of the pack in the National League, but Both kids have come up and have instant impact. Mizorowski just beat Paul Skeens. Okay, you just beat the reigning rookie of the year last year. So that's a huge start for the Brewers. Big win yesterday, 3-0 shutout over Milwaukee. I don't know yet about Chase Burns. I think there's a little bit of a question as to what Chase Burns will look like. But 5 Ks in 5 batters to start his Major League Baseball career, okay. Like, so far, so good. Like, that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's pretty impressive. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Oh, Dave's in the chat. What's up? Good. Yeah, Biz is a real deal. We got to get Dave a better avatar. We can't just be a D. We got to get a picture of Dave to then I can identify it easier. Because then all the avatars look the same. Got to look them different. Are we calling him the Miz? That's taken, I thought. That's a wrestling term, right? That's a wrestling term, the Miz. But if you want to talk about value, Chase Burns at 8 plus 850. I mean, the Drake Baldwin kid, I was talking to someone that I respect last night. I said, Drake Baldwin's going to be a decent story, but kind of cross him off just because the pitchers are going to get such hype. And Mizorowski and Burns are going to be 1-2, and whatever order it is, you have one that's obviously a pretty big favorite because he's made 3 starts. Burns has made 1. But if Burns has 2 starts like he had against the Yankees for the Reds, Burns will be either right there or he'll have shorter odds on him to win the National League Rookie of the Year. So looking for a value play, that's your value play if you want to jump in on that. That's not a bad angle to take. This story is, I'm completely conflicted with this. The head of the Giants is talking that there will be a statue of Barry Bonds outside of Oracle Park. So I've told the story on the show before. I saw number 70 for Barry Bonds with his incredible 72 home run. I was there at Oracle when he hit number 70. I was in the outfield, but that ball went into the center field chasm at Oracle and nobody got that ball. But everybody was there trying to catch the last home run ball. He'd already broken the record, obviously, but how many home runs was he going to wind up hitting? 73, right? Whatever he wound up with. I was there for number 70. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Fame player before Barry Bonds ever used steroids. But I have a really hard time with the younger generation's, not requirement, but their ability to overlook something that they did not live through. So because the younger generation did not live through Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and the entire steroid era, because they didn't experience what we all experienced when you're over the age of 40, the younger generation thinks that us old heads are out to lunch when it comes to keeping Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame and it comes to not honoring Barry Bonds for what he did. But Barry Bonds brought disgrace to the Giants organization. There's no other way around this, okay? The Balco situation was a legal matter. It wasn't just cheating. He was involved in a legal court fight. He was involved in a legal court case as being involved with an illegal drug-making operation. And the Giants are going to honor him with a statue. It's one thing to say Barry Bonds belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I have the same attitude as I've had it with Pete Rose. He's already in the Hall of Fame. His bats, the home run balls, his uniforms, he's already in the Hall of Fame. His plaque is not in the Hall of Fame, and we don't refer to Barry Bonds or Pete Rose as a Hall of Famer. But they're part of baseball. You cannot take a museum of baseball and not have pieces of memorabilia from Rose and Bonds and McGwire and Sosa and A-Rod and everybody else. You just can't do it. They're part of baseball. You can't remove one player, take away their stats because it impacts the pitcher. It impacts the fielders. It impacts everything. It doesn't work like that. It's a whole ecosystem. You can't just remove one guy. So Bonds is in the Hall of Fame. So is Rose. But to build a statue, that's reserved for the best of the best. That's reserved. That's immortality. That's when you're long gone from this earth. That statue is still there. And people will walk by it and they'll talk about you and look at you and go, I remember that. That guy was incredible. Like Tom Brady this August will have a statue unveiled outside of Foxborough. Like that's the level of success you would expect to have somebody to have a statue built of them outside the stadium? What did they mean to the organization? What do they mean to the future generations? Are we going to hold up Barry Bonds? Like, is he somebody that you'd want your kid to strive to be? Again, Pittsburgh Barry Bonds, different story. Like, if Pittsburgh wanted to build a statue for Barry Bonds, I don't think I'd fight it. I think I'd be like, okay. I mean, he was a Hall of Fame 5-tool player with Pittsburgh. But it's the Giants who want to build that, not the Pirates. Yes, he broke the home run record wearing a Giant uniform, a record that nobody respects, that no one wants, that no one likes. And Pete Rose should have a statue outside the Great American Ballpark, JC from KC. Pete Rose is banned for what he did as a manager, not as a player. There's no debate what that guy did on the field. Pete Rose, the hitter, Pete Rose, the baseball player, is a surefire. I mean, why have a Hall of Fame if you're not going to put Pete Rose, the baseball player, in the Hall of Fame? It's Pete Rose, the manager, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's what he did as a manager that caused the issue with Pete Rose in the lifetime ban, whatever you want to call it, being ineligible for the Hall of Fame. This is Barry Bonds, the baseball player. We're gonna argue about Barry Bonds, the baseball player. Mr. Wobble, you're not alone. I'm a youngin', but I only think of Bonds as a Giant. There's a lot of people that don't remember, and it's your generation that is completely and totally cool with wiping away any of the steroid era allegations and saying everyone's clean, everyone's fine. But I have a hard time with it because I remember A-Rod sitting down and lying to the American public on 60 Minutes, like straight lie. Watching Andy Pettit, watching Mark McGuire, watching Roger Clemens, all of these guys, straight lie. Roger Clemens lied to Congress. Like, he lied under oath to Congress about what he did. And we're just going to say that the better part of a 10-year story that all of us were a part of and all of us watched. I'm 48 years old. I lived through all of it. I remember the Ken Caminiti front page story. I was in Alabama, working in Alabama, and the Sports Illustrated came in the mail. I was at the pool, and I walked out and got the mail, and there was a gigantic baseball with a huge steroid needle inside of it. This is pre-internet. This is when actually news came out this way through newspapers and magazines. And I went, oh my God, what is this? And he went through the documentation of Ken Caminiti's use for steroids. And then I read Jose Canseco's book, Juiced, cover to cover in 2 days. And what he was alleging and what he was claiming, I went on the radio the next day and I said, if a quarter of what Canseco was saying is true, Major League Baseball will never be the same. It was more than a quarter. It was way more than a quarter that was there. I have a hard time just ignoring it. I really do. I have a hard time just completely glossing over the steroid era and going ahead and putting a guy like Barry Bonds into the category of, one, a Hall of Famer, but two, I don't know. A part of me feels like a statue is even a bigger honor than the Hall of Fame. That's for everybody. I mean, every single time someone walks by Oracle, they talk about Barry Bonds. They see the statue. That's immortality in a bigger way than a lot of ways that we see with the Hall of Fame. Giants doing that. It's going to be a very interesting story to watch. No guarantee, but they're hinting loudly that that is going to happen. All right, so it's a Thursday here. There's a lot of baseball currently underway at the moment. So to get involved with some of these games, it's a little bit on the difficult side, but I'm going to tell you what I bet, and then you can follow along with it if you want on this for just the picks. So there is no score between the Rays and the Royals at the moment. The Royals can't score to save their life, and it's kind of crazy to watch again that they can't score. But the Royals went to Tampa and swept the Rays in Tampa. The Rays, if they win today, will sweep the Royals in Kansas City and pay them back. So I like the Rays today on the money line. It was minus 120 last night when I went ahead and bet it. The Cardinals got blanked. They got blanked yesterday by the Cubs. Lost 8-0. I was on the over. Fell a half a run shy. I think the Cardinals win today, but they're losing at the moment. It's 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning between the Cubs and the Cardinals here. I like them to bounce back, but so far no offense going on here for the Cardinals at the moment. Bush homered to right for the Cubs for the 1-0 lead here. So not bad pitching, but Imanaga, so far so good. This is his first start coming off of the IR after the hamstring injury that he suffered. So far so good for Imanaga, but it's early. So let's see what happens with him. I like fading pitchers that are coming off of the IR for their first start. In particular, the Cubs bullpen has not been great, although they were good yesterday. And then finally, I like the Mariners here today. And look, this offense for Seattle was kept in check big time. Rain delay going on in Minnesota, so I'm not sure this game's going to be played. It's 0-0 with no outs, so they haven't even started the game yet. So let's see if they actually play the game today. It's early. I'm assuming they're going to want to get this game in, so we'll see if it gets rolling here. But rain delay, top of the first inning for the Mariners and the Twins. So you can bet this if you want. After the 2-0 win yesterday for the Twins, I think the Mariners come back and bounce back. It is Hancock, who has not been good. Wood Richardson's been okay for the Twins, but he has lost, I believe, was it 3 of his last 4 starts, I believe, that what he's lost. Let me double check on that for Wood Richardson. So, he's lost, 3 in a row. 3 starts in a row the team has lost with Woods Richardson for starting. So if you want to take Seattle, you can jump in. I did that at plus 104 on the Mariners for this. The prop bet of the day, you guys can't bet it, but I'm 0-3, so I'll give it to you as to what I bet for today. Let's see if I go 0-4 for the week, because I've not been going strong at all. Amazingly enough, and I swear I bet this earlier, the BvB prop bet of the day, over 3.5 Ks for Shane Baz for the Rays. He has 4 already through 3 innings. So we cashed this. It's 0-0 here for this. So it's 1-3, even though technically I couldn't give it out to you guys. It's 1-3. So I got that right. I got a prop bet right here for today. So let's at least break the streak here for first 3 bets. We went 4-1 last week. 1-3. If I lose it tomorrow, I will wind up going 1-4. As what normally happens when it comes to betting and the betting gods, right? You have a good week and they turn around the next week, not so great. Today is a crazy day for betting, by the way. It's all baseball. It's all in the day, and there's nothing else really to play. Like, we are literally in the dog days, and I need the Dodgers to be a bit more transparent. Right, for Ohtani watch, what is Dave Roberts doing? So Dave Roberts, we talked yesterday about Ohtani and whether or not he was going to hit in the home run derby. And Dave Roberts said, I'm leaving that up to Ohtani. Interesting. And then yesterday he was asked about Ohtani's pitching schedule. And he said essentially that they're not telling anyone. Like, they're not going to tell the public as to when Ohtani is pitching next. He is scheduled to pitch Saturday, they think, against the Royals in Kansas City. They think that's what's going to happen. But there's no promises to any of it. Like, it's all up in the air. Like, I can't figure this out as to what the purpose of being this coy is when it comes to Ohtani. Like, they have to have a schedule, but are they trying to keep the Royals or Major League Baseball off kilter? He pitched 1 inning the first time, didn't look great. He pitched 1 inning the second time, he looked great. They've said they're going to, gradually build him back up. They also said they don't think he's going to be at 100% this year. Like, he may never get back to being fully at 100% in 25. It may be in 26 when he is, throwing 7-8 innings every start. But why can't you just say he's going to pitch Saturday or he's going to pitch Sunday? Like, I don't get the idea of keeping everybody in the dark about where Ohtani is going to get. Yeah, JC from KC, Ohtani's scared of the Royals bats. I don't understand. Like, he said we have to be careful. We have to be careful with what we're saying publicly. Why? It I don't get what's going on. They initially told us he wasn't going to pitch until August. Then they said, well, he might pitch before the All-Star break. And then he started pitching. Like, they've moved the goalposts so much when it comes to Ohtani. And now they won't even say when he's starting. They won't even say, hey, this is now the schedule for when Ohtani is going to be pitching. Are they worried about ticket sales, that like they're going to make more money for the Royals because Royal fans will go to the ballpark in Kauffman on Saturday because they can go watch Ohtani? Is that what they're worried about? You have to. I don't get it. I can't figure out what the point is and why they need to be this secretive about Ohtani, but it looks like he's going to pitch on Saturday. I don't know. Maybe. I hope he does. I think it'd be fun to watch him pitch against the Royals because their offense is not great. So that's a nerfy. If the price is probably outrageous, but it's probably a decent bet on Saturday. No runs in the first inning for that. So I'll give you a quick scoreboard update as we currently sit. A's down 3-0 to the Tigers. That game in the bottom of the sixth inning. The Blue Jays up 3-0 on the Guardians. I mentioned the rain delay in Minnesota. That game is still in a rain delay. 1-0 Astros over the Phillies. No score, Rays and the Royals. I'm on the Rays money line there. Both pitchers off to a good start. Top of the third, the Cubs 1 on second, 1 out in a 1-0 lead for Chicago. And then later on, we've got the Dodgers, the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Giants, and the Braves and the Mets, the only night game coming up here tonight in Major League Baseball. And that game is going to be pretty good. Braves are throwing Holmes. Mets are throwing Canning. It's a pick'em game. The total's 8.5. So if you're looking for something to watch tonight, that's not a bad game to watch. It's going to give you some entertainment here. Holmes is 4-6 with a 3.71 ERA. Griffin Canning is 7-3 with a 3.91 ERA, but there's a little bit of fool's gold when it comes to Griffin Canning. His last 3 starts, he's given up 3, 6, and 4 earned runs. The team has won 2 of those 3 games, 11-4 over the Phillies, 5-4 over Washington. He lost, and the team lost 9-0 to the Rays back on the 15th of June. Over, probably a decent bet. Bet the over 8.5. Grant Holmes probably gives up some runs here, although in his last start on the road against the Marlins, he was great. 5 2/3, no earned runs. Before that, it was 4 straight losses for the team against the Rockies, Brewers, Diamondbacks, and Red Sox, in which he gave up 3, 3, 3, and 2 earned runs. So over is probably the play between the Braves and the Mets coming up here, but I probably, with the Mets at home, I would lean towards the Mets. It's a pick. So Mets have been not good. Atlanta, by the way, is 5-1 this year against the Mets. 5-1. We get a run for the Rays. That's good news. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Runner on third now in the top of the 4th inning. So Tampa strikes first. So we're off to a good start there in that game with the Baz prop coming in. News of the industry. Okay, this is an interesting story. Not really in the type of story that we thought that was going to drop, but it hit last night. The state of California is now taking a pretty hard look. I don't know, did I put that up? No, I did not. Okay, hold on. I did not put that up. Sorry. I thought I had a header for that. I guess I didn't do that. Oh, yeah, we did. Here, there it is. Okay. The future for online fantasy sports in California is now in jeopardy. According to a report, several sources saying that California Attorney General Rob Bonetta is expected to release a legal opinion in the coming days deeming online fantasy sports to be illegal. Illegal in California. This is a big deal. In a statement issued by the Coalition for Fantasy Sports, said the opinion would be, quote, devastating to millions of California sports fans who love to play fantasy sports. The coalition includes Better, Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, Dabble, and Splash Sports. Yes, it includes Splash Sports. I don't know what to make of this because I need to hear or read rather the language in which we're going after these companies. According to James Siva, the chairman of the CNIGA, which is the California Nations of Indian Gaming Association and Tribal Alliance of Sovereign Indian Nationals, they sent a letter to the California lawmakers warning them that fantasy sport operators may be working to push legislation regarding their legal status in the state. The group urged lawmakers to wait for the AG's opinion. Quote, while we have yet to see the AG's pending opinion, we are happy to hear that the Attorney General is standing up for the people of California by ensuring the state laws are enforced. Illegal and unregulated gaming has been a problem in California for decades. These illegal practices deny consumers real protections and safeguards against illicit practices such as fraud and underage gambling. We are glad to see the AG address the issue and look forward to lawbreakers being held to account. I mean, we're going the other way. I mean, we're all hoping that California would go legal. We were hoping that California would then decide to go and be legal, not go the other way and ban everything, not come in and ban it all. I thought they would come in and look to legalize. Well, we're ways away from legalized sports betting, and now we're going to come and crack heads and come in and try to go ahead and say that all daily fantasy sites, all fantasy sites in general, cannot operate. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I understand the opinion. I may not like it, but I understand the opinion. And I think there's a lot of people in California that might not be happy if this goes through. But I don't think they have much of a legal standing. I don't think they have much of an angle to stand, issue to stand on when it comes to all this, because I think there's going to be a big problem if you start saying, well, wait a minute, you have to allow us to operate. And then they come back and say, well, this has been illegal for years. What you've been doing has been illegal forever. So like, how do you go to court and claim that we should be allowed to do this? Because that's what everyone's saying. Well, that's going to end up in court. Well, okay. Well, if you've been doing something illegal and you go to court and you're claiming, hey, I should be able to do something illegal, you're not going to win. So if California wants to crack down on this, it's interesting because we've seen the social sports books be allowed, or not the social, but the sweepstakes sports books to be allowed to operate in California. And the coin-based sports books have been allowed to operate. Kalshi is operating in California. So it does feel a little bit like selective prosecution for California, but we'll see where that all winds up. But that is a pretty big development if California is going to start cracking down on daily fantasy and saying what can and cannot operate in the state. Shouldn't it be all of it? If it's all of it, we got bigger court fights ahead of us. Favorite thing about today. All right, for me to wrap the show, favorite thing about today, it is International Fight Week. And from here, I am headed down to the press conference at T-Mobile Arena for UFC 317 to start on all the festivities. I can't wait to get down there. 2 title fights happening tonight for for Saturday night for the UFC. And then tomorrow at the ceremonial weigh-ins, we then get Canelo and Crawford facing off for the first time in public. They've done it one time before. Dana White had to get between them. It got pretty heated. I'm guessing the crowd at T-Mobile Arena tomorrow will only make it more intense for those two guys to get across from each other. So today we get to see all the fighters that are going to fight on the card on Saturday night. Ilia Topuria has been able to talk a lot of trash over the last couple of weeks leading up to this fight coming up here against Charles Oliveira. I'll be very curious to see what those two guys sound like here today towards each other. Are we going respectful, or are we going to continue to say Oliveira has been saying he's going to take out Topuria pretty fast? Topuria is predicting a first-round knockout in the lightweight division. Okay. He's a flyweight moving up to lightweight, and he's going to knock out Oliveira in the first round. Okay. His boxing is absolutely, if not the best, in the top 3 in the UFC. He's unbelievable. but we know what the Dubronx can do, right? We know what Charles Oliveira is. If he gets his hands on you, he's going to put you on the mat. And we talked about it in the opening line. That guy's a BJJ specialist. He's going to put you to sleep. So, like, okay, let's see it. I can't wait. Like, let's see it. That fight's going to be absolutely awesome. The card is stacked. It's International Fight Week. UFC X starts tomorrow. Can't wait to see what happens with that. So, big kickoff party starting. Favorite thing about today, UFC International Fight Week, all the festivities, at least for me, all the festivities, starting here in a couple hours in Las Vegas. You guys are with us live. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for being a part of the program. You replay folks, we love you as well. Sports Grid, Sirius XM, thank you for being here as well. Tomorrow is Friday. I don't know what we do tomorrow. Roll Call Friday without Dave, I don't think it's, as of right now, I don't think it's right. We may call it Roll Call Friday, but I think we pause the roll calling until we get the roll call marshal back and we get Dave back. But we'll make an official call of that overnight and get with it tomorrow. I will talk to you guys tomorrow regardless. Same place, same time, live. We'll be back to the normal 1 o'clock Eastern time start tomorrow, guys, by the way. We went an hour later today because of a meeting. We're back to the 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time live on the Bostonian versus the Book, at Boston versus the Book, YouTube and Twitter channels. We'll talk to you tomorrow for a Roll Call Friday.